और हम सीधे चलते हैं विज्ञान भवन, जहां जीएसटी परिषद की 16वीं बैठक के बाद
50 lakh rupees. And for trading, manufacturing and restaurants, different rates of taxation were there. For trading it was 1%. For manufacturing it was 2%. And for restaurants it was
5%.
5%. So you could, instead of paying the normal GST rate, you could have a composition by paying this percentage of total turnover. Now, for all the three categories, which is trading, manufacturing and restaurants, keeping the same rates in mind, the composition amount has been raised to 75.
और ये आप देख रहे हैं
जो कॉम्पोजिशन होगा, जो पहले 50 लाख की सीमा तय की गई थी, अब उसको 75 लाख तक लाया गया है। इसके पीछे दो उद्देश्य थे। There were two objectives. One, we try to maintain revenue neutrality to the extent possible, because this can also mean some sacrifice of revenue, but it eases the burden on the SMEs and the small traders and the restaurants, and it also reduces the burden on these three categories, because these are mass job creators. So that is why, after a detailed discussion, this was increased to 75 lakhs. The accounts and record rules, another set of regulations, was also approved today. A total of 133 representations had been received. And these 133 representations were considered at length. The officers' committee had made certain recommendations after considering these representations. Now, the object was to maintain equivalence to the existing taxation level. And in some cases, the Fitment Committee's recommendation went beyond the equivalence principle, because some items which have been historically charged at a higher rate, but today in the changed economic sense, it requires to be, the burden requires to be reduced. So after considering the recommendations, the GST Council has reduced the tax levels in 66 out of these 133 cases. The reduction was, as I said, based on two principles. One is to maintain the equivalence levels, and in certain cases we even breached the equivalence principle because of the changed nature of the economy and the consumer preferences and the nature of consumers who are entitled to these benefit of these reduced rates. If I give you between what we had decided, cashew nuts has been reduced from 12 to 5%. There are several food items, packaged food, which were historically charged at 18%. These include some fruit and vegetable products, pickles, murabba, chutney, ketchups, mustard salt, topping spread over sauces, instant food mixes. A number of these items, a list will be given to you so that there is no error in reporting, were historically charged at 18%, are now being reduced to 12%, because many of them are used by common people. Kajal from 28% to 18%, agarbatti from 12 to 5%, dental wax from 28 to 18%, an important item, insulin, from 12 to 5%, plastic beads, 28 to 18%, plastic tarpaulin from 28 to 18%. Now, historically, school bags were always at 28%. Now, this optically also doesn't look fair. So, this has been reduced to 18%. Exercise books of certain categories were 18%. They have been reduced to 12%. Children's coloring and drawing books, 12%, reduced to nil. Very young children use them. Pre-cast concrete pipes, 28 to 18%. Glazed stoneware from 28 to 18%. Cutlery from 18 to 12%. Some tractor components from 28 to 18%. Computer printers from 28 to 18%, ball bearings from 28 to 18%. So there's a long list of items which has been reduced, keeping either the equivalence principle or the change in the utilization behavior. The last important item was also the entertainment tax on cinema. Now currently, sections of the film industry have represented about it. First, the facts. Today, entertainment tax is levied by the states. The states levy a different rate, starting from about 20% right up till 110%. And the weighted average for the entire country is about 30%. But several state governments give an exemption to cinema of the particular language of that state. Now in the GST, there is no centralized exemption. If a state wants, it can still, through the DBT, to the producer or distributor, refund the state GST of its own regional language. That's the methodology of promoting the regional cinema. After detailed consideration of all the representations, it was decided that there will be two categories of GST rates. One for cinema tickets of rupees 100 or below, and the others above 100. The rate of 28% will be maintained for all cinema tickets above rupees 100. And below rupees 100, it will be reduced to 18%. These were broadly the decisions today. Another important decision was in relation to job workers in textile, diamond processing, leather, jewelry, printing. These are items where job workers typically take the work home and work on textiles or diamond processing, etc., or jewelry work is done at homes. Now, the normal GST rate for these services is 18%, but because in these sectors the rate itself has been reduced, for job work in these sectors the rate has been fixed at 5%. So that outsourcing through job work in these sectors could be encouraged. These are some of the key decisions taken today. The rates which have been fixed will be separately put on the net and released to you. Next meeting of the council will be on next Sunday at 11:30 at the same venue. There is no agenda as yet because most of the issues we have completed. If any other new issues come up in the run-up to the GST, we'll try and resolve them.
Sir, automobile industry hybrid cars को लेकर के जो issues raise कर रहे थे, क्या वो next meeting में उठेगा?
ऐसा है कि उसको लेकर एक डिटेल अध्ययन हम लोगों ने किया है और उस पर एक पूरा पेपर तैयार हुआ है, जो पेपर सर्कुलेट कर दिया जाएगा मेंबर्स को और आवश्यकता होगी तो उसकी चर्चा होगी। जो तथ्य प्रोजेक्ट किए जा रहे हैं उस पेपर के मुताबिक वो सही नहीं है।
Has the rate on lottery been decided?
That is also scheduled for next week.
So what is the impact of
You see, there is, let's see, the overall weighted average of all rates we have decided significantly are lower rates than what people are paying today. And therefore, there would be an adverse revenue impact if other things remained equal. But we are also hoping on revenue buoyancy and a check on inflation that GST will ensure so as to make up for that loss. One of the objects and advantages of GST is that you bring the rates down, but the base expands, so you maintain the level of taxes.
Sir, जेंट्स एंड ज्वेलरी के जॉब वर्क के लिए भी जो रेट होगा वो
5%.
Sir, on that, today, just this morning, there were reports that how even traders in Old Delhi, they were finding it difficult.
Irrespective of the date on which it is to start, some people will say we are not ready.
No, but
So they will have no option but to get ready.
but for this segment, will they be prepared for this job work? Specifically, I'm asking because these are artisans who are not.
देखिए, these are made so simple. I take it that all of them have a turnover, if they are so small, less than 75 lakhs a year. So all they have to do is to pay 1% or 2% as composition. I don't know what is the level of preparedness required for that. You require an honest intent for that.
Afternoon, sir. Ashmit from CNBC. On your right, sir. So the telecom sector was another sector which we raised a pitch regarding the 18% tax rate and the effective.
Present rates are being maintained, what we have decided.
Good afternoon, sir. Shani Lobo, India Today. Sir, I wanted to know if there's a tax revision on sanitary napkins. A lot of women groups have been putting pressure on.
What has been decided earlier remains.
Sir, what are these issues remaining, sir? One is this e-way bill issue. And if you could just list out the issues that are remaining, which need to
I think
sort out.
lottery would be discussed, is a specific issue which remains. E-way bill and lottery are the two specific issues next week.
So, Meghna Mittal from INS, could there be any more revision to the next meeting or are these the finalized?
Well, these broadly are the final rates. As I said, we are, all the ministers from the different states who come are responsive. So if any representation comes, this is normally considered. But this broadly seems to have, we have gone into the depth of all the cases. And behind every decision which has been taken by the Fitment Committee and a detailed discussion in the Council, there has been a informed reason behind it. Just because somebody raises an issue doesn't mean you have to grant it.
Sir, the GST Council have taken decision regarding the CST, but CST has, sent out feelers or sent out directions to and has stored all its purchases in June. Now, similar thing is happening at the other levels as well. Do you see, the switch over to GST could have some impact on the overall GDP?
Overall GDP?
Yeah.
Because of
In
what?
this quarter, yeah, because a lot of entities like CST has already said it will not buy anything in June.
CST?
CST.
No, actually the transition rules are now made so sweet, they are being made so relaxed, that I think nobody will have any worry of stocking or destocking. So we don't expect that there should be any scare in any commodity in the market. CST also, we have already told them what is going to be the methodology of reimbursing 50% of the taxes that they will pay. So they are well aware of it, and I don't think there will be any problem of transition. We don't see that to happen.
Also coming up for public consultation?
The broad view was taken by the council, which our honourable minister had mentioned last time, but the detailed rules are under drafting, and we would come back to the council as early as possible.
So that would be before the rollout, or it can be expected?
It can be any time. It's not necessarily linked to the rollout, but we will try and expedite it as early as possible.
Thank you.
So, well, that was Finance Minister Arun Jaitley along with the Finance Ministry officials briefing the media after that crucial GST meeting that just ended a short while ago. If we have to sum up the highlights, the 16th GST Council meeting, after this meeting, Finance Minister has announced reducing tax levels of 66 out of 133 categories. In fact, he also said that several food items tax is reduced from 18% to 12%. Tax has also been reduced on certain life-saving medicines. So, in fact, it is a sort of a good news for the people of this country that 66 out of 133 categories, there are changes in the tax levels, which people, industry and many other representatives have expressed certain concerns. And the 16th GST Council meeting has taken a decision upon that.